They recruit these interns. If he has interest in you, you get certain privileges. The relationship starts off. I've also been at a point in my life where I was also trying to fit in because you want to be accepted. But I think when you come to understand how special you are, every individual is special, you will be so uncomfortable trying to be like everyone else. This is an office that it was a big deal. You know, when you've just come out of university, there are those media houses that are a big deal. Yeah. Everyone wants to get into them. So I was very excited. I go there, I'm, trying to be as active as I can, relating with everyone, trying to learn. It's like, so I have wired something to your phone. First check your phone. So I open the phone. There's this large amount of money. So I'm like, wow, so that is all yours. I send the money back to him. Do you know how many girls want that kind of money? May I only want one thing, my dear, by the way. One thing, and everything else will be yours. By then, he had already started opening the car. I told him, either way, I'm not comfortable. I'm not going. I don't need a hotel. I don't need anything. I just need a job. I need a professional job. That's it. And he told me, okay, you don't need anything. You can pick your things. Go and pick your things in the office. Even me, I don't need you. To be honest, like for 3 years, spirit for journalism just died. The love for the job failed to come back. Because in my mind, I said it's the same thing everywhere you go. If I can't make the change, I'm going to walk out. But I can't sit in an environment and just pretend that I can't see anything. Maybe it's in my personality, but I also think it's the God in me. Yeah, it's the God in me that makes me identify, and what so many people find normal, I feel is so abnormal.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode. My name is Renette, your host, and I'm very happy that you're joining us today. Today is an amazing day, and I'm very sure that this episode will help a young girl who has plans of ever going into a marketplace. You're always faced with some of these things, and we want to talk about it candidly in this conversation. I am very happy and privileged to be joined with a friend of mine who I've known for a couple of months, and she's going to be very vulnerable and open to share her experiences so that you can learn. The reason why we are talking about this is not because we're exalting them. It's because many people die because they do not know. They are not informed. They cannot make an informed decision because they think, oh, this is just to me. Oh, I'm the first person who has gone through this. But when you hear somebody who has gone through it and actually how they handled it, then you know how to do better, especially in a way that honors God. So today, join me as we welcome Penny. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's a pleasure to be here, finally.
I know. I really thank God that you are able to sit down with me. I feel like this is an indicator of somebody who has been truly healed, delivered, and just wants to help another person. Yeah, so briefly before we go in the conversation, who is Penny?
Penny is a journalist by profession.
Yes.
From Uganda Christian University. That's where I graduated.
Yes.
I am a former Media Challenge Initiative fellow, 2020. It's a journalist initiative that's meant to raise the next generation of journalists.
Yes.
Currently, I'm a trainer of public speaking.
Yeah.
I love teaching young people, especially primary, to just learn how to make public presentations on any kind of platform, deal with low self-esteem, deal with shyness, it's like an art anyone can master.
Yeah.
Penny is a moderator.
Yeah.
I have been able to moderate a few shows, specifically during COVID online.
Yeah.
Still open to moderation and emceeing.
Yeah.
And also CEO of the Habu Media Works, which is a marketing and advertising agency. So I'm basically a journalist who is more focused now on communication. Yeah. And basically, professionally, that's me.
Amazing. Yeah. You carry many hats.
Thank you.
I realized there are many things I didn't know about you.
Thank you.
But nice to have you. Nice to have you. Penny, today we want to talk about sexual advances, demands, harassment, behaviors, tendencies in workspaces. And all of us have at one point been in an office, in a workspace where you interact with people. These are adult people in whatever role anybody is playing. And I've noted, before the show, I was actually doing my personal research and study, and I realized that many women, girls in market space are confronted with that issue. Relationships at work, after work appointments, things people have to do to get promoted, to get jobs, it's quite a lot. And as a believer, this is something that is no foreign. At one point, also people experience that. And I want us to talk about how exactly to deal with it. Because the truth is that sometimes people don't know. You find a young girl who has just finished uni and they are joining the market space. They are very naive about what happens there, and many are taken advantage of. So I read about your story and I got interest, and I want you to take us through what happened in your career journey generally. Yes, how did it all start and what happened?
Wow. So for sexual harassment, the first time I encountered it was when I was doing my internship. I was actually about to mention the name of the company, then I realized, I won't mention names of companies.
Please don't.
Yeah, but it was a company where I had done my internship for the first time, a media company to be specific. And I noticed that the boss, they recruit these interns. If he has interest in you, you get certain privileges. The relationship starts off, and it caught my attention. But when I spoke to the staff, where I got close to the gentleman, it was more of something very normal. Oh yeah, that's what the guy does. Oh, and I first heard of it when one of the interns didn't come to work. And then when I hear one of the gentlemen saying, "Oh, where is this girl? Oh, she's not coming to work today. Bosses. Bosses. She's boss's girl, so she chooses not to come." And I'm like, "How is that normal?" And they said, "Oh, but Penny, this is how this guy is." And I think what also made me uncomfortable is he's a married man. Occasionally, his wife does come to office. So we're a group of staff who know this. And in my head, I'm always wondering, does the wife know about this? Because she meets these girls. We all show her the respect, but in the back of my mind, I felt like it was just very insulting to her. But there was nothing I could do. So for me, I'm a kind of person, if I'm in a situation that's not comfortable for me, I have two options. I either speak up or I walk out. If I can't make the change, I'm going to walk out. But I can't sit in an environment and just pretend that I can't see anything. Maybe it's in my personality, but I also think it's the God in me. It's the God in me that makes me identify, and what so many people find normal, I feel is so abnormal. And I just don't know how people normalize certain things. So I left that office, and I felt, to be honest, I felt a certain resentment towards the boss, because as much as he was so professional and skilled, for me, all that was so covered up by the fact that, he's running 3 girls at the same time, and I guess I was just not one of his type, so he just also didn't give me my time. So the second time I met it was actually 2 occasions. The one time I got it was when that was around 2021, before I got a permanent job. I had at UAP, Old Mutual, which is now Old Mutual. So I spent about 3 months unemployed, and I desperately needed a job. So I'd mentioned to my cousin, I need something in journalism, probably television. And she's like, it's okay if anything comes up. I spoke to many of my cousins about it. So one of them reached out to me, I think it was April. And she says, there is this job at this media house. They need a presenter. Do you think you can do it? I'm like, 2 days to the deadline, take my CV, I go to the office, I submit. They're like, it's okay. If you're through, we'll just give you a call. If we think you qualify, you come and do a screen test.
Yeah.
So I'm called, it was like 2 weeks later, come for a screen test, which is where you just do a dry run. You try to act like you're actually doing
the job or the presentation. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, do you want to do news? Do you want to do something in entertainment? I said, no, I think I'm better as a news anchor. So I go and I do it, and another week ago, they're like, oh, you have the job. You're going to start the first Monday of the next month.
Yeah.
So when I get to this office, this is an office that it was a big deal. You know, when you've just come out of university, there are those media houses that are a big deal. Yeah. Everyone wants to get into them. And I'd also been sit at home for like a month and a half. So I was very excited. I go there, I'm, trying to be as active as I can, relating with everyone, trying to learn. They told me, you're not going to start immediately on TV. We need you to just probably do script writing and video editing until we're able to get you. We need to introduce you to
the background work.
The background work. Yeah. And also an introduction to the people who view the station, because you're a new face. So I'm doing all that. So it was actually within the first week. It was, I think, a Wednesday. So the manager calls me. Overall manager calls me. Someone says, oh, the boss wants to speak to you in his office. I'm like, okay. So I go, he's like, oh, how are you? I'm fine. So he asks me, okay, how are you doing? How is the environment? Are you enjoying? I was like, yeah, is there anything you need? If you feel like you need anything, don't hesitate to call me. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Yeah. Then he says, there is something I usually love to do for our new staff, especially when I think you're extremely talented. I think you have a lot of potential. I have so much ahead of you. We're so excited
nice words.
Very many good things.
Yeah.
They lift you up, and I don't know if you're getting that recognition from someone who is like big somewhere there. You really feel like finally someone sees the potential.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and he says, I'd just like to, as an introduction, sort of an orientation. Why don't I, lunch? Let's do lunch. Where would you like to go? Pick any place of your choice in Kampala. Do you like Sheraton? Do you like Serena? I'm like, oh, is it like lunch, like everyone lunch, or like
you alone? Thought it was a staff orientation.
I was very confused. I thought it was like, but at the same time, I'm like, but then if it's a group lunch, why am I in the office alone? Then I'm like, maybe he has already briefed everyone. I was like, oh,
he briefs everyone separately. Then you all meet there.
I was like, is it group lunch? It's like, what group lunch? What? We're here alone. Where are the other group people? I'm like, but sir, isn't that a little unprofessional? No. I do this. Everyone knows this is what I do for. It's just an intro. I don't overthink. I'm like, okay, let me go and think about it. And he says, what do you need to think about? It is lunch. What are you going to go and think about? I said, he was very direct. I said, no, I just need to look in my program, in my schedule. I go home. I call my cousin. I'm like, this guy has asked me to go for lunch. She's like, lunch for what? Because there's a girl who got me the job. I'm like, he said it's an orientation. She's like, She's like, let me first talk to someone who works there. So the next time she gets to me, she's like, Penny, that guy apparently has a bit of a reputation. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, he has a name. But it's not going to go in the right direction. So just find a polite way of telling him no, because I was young. So she told me, don't throw it at him. Don't be rude. I don't want. Just find a polite way. Just say, sir, I don't want to get into anything that's not professional.
Yeah.
So after a day, I go back to his office. Oh, you thought about the lunch? I said, yeah, I did, but honestly, I'm not comfortable with, I want to stay professional, and I came here to work, and what. It's like, looks at me, it's like, fine. It's okay, you can go out. But in case of anything, please, don't
I'm
worry.
here. I'm here
for
you.
I'm like, Why would I jump from my deputy producers and go to the home manager to explain my camera is not working? Like, there were funny things. I was getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it was Monday, the next day, Monday. He meets me at the cafeteria, passing by, inspecting, looking around, greeting everyone. Penny, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine, taking breakfast. He's like, so, I have wired something to your phone. First check your phone. So I open the phone. There's this large amount of money, more than what I'm supposed to be paid, like thrice. So I'm like, wow, so that is all yours. Since you don't want lunch. Here, I did not decide to ask you, because for you, when you ask, you want to go and think. Now you have no time to think. That is yours. Go and, you're a girl, go and maybe do your hair or your nails, do what you want. I'm like, what is this for? I probably ask too many questions. Just eat, just enjoy. We'll talk later. It runs off. I'm like, the whole day I keep checking. I look at the message. I go off. I go and work, I come back, I check the message, I go off. I went back to my cousin. I told her, I was like, this guy has sent money. She said, my friend, please, just send it back. Nobody said it. So she's like, Penny, who gives money for free?
I know.
I've told you this guy is not good. I sent the money back to him. He actually didn't say anything. Just kept quiet. So a week later, this was my third week into the job. He calls me to his office again. Oh, Penny, manager is calling. I'm like, my lord, people are going to see me asking, why is that girl always going to that guy's office? Like, what's it? I open the doors. So you don't want nice things. You know? How many girls want the kind of things that you have? Do you know how many... Do you know how many girls want that kind of money? Okay, you're a strong woman, isn't it? Okay. Me, I'm also a good guy. And I'm not someone who gives up easily.
Yeah.
I keep quiet. Anyway, I didn't come to quarrel you. I wanted to tell you that I have a crisis. We have an emergency. We need to meet one of our clients. We need to have a public statement made. I want you to come and speak on behalf of the company. I said, me speaking on behalf of the company? He said, don't worry, I'm going to tell you what to say. You're a very eloquent girl. I know you can do this. Me, I'm looking at potential. This is how people get positions. When you pull this off, you're going to become the PR. I see a lot. Penelope, you don't see what I see in you. I said, okay, what am I supposed to do? They just find me at the parking. You know my car? I said, no. I go, yeah. Gives me the number, but just go and wait there. So we're going with we're going with... mentions the names. We're going with this and this and this. We're going with, so we're not going alone. You just can wait from there. I'm like, okay. Go down, stand at the car. I'm the only one. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He comes alone. Holds the door. He's like, let's go for lunch. I said, lunch again? I said, but I know what is this lunch? He said, okay. You choose a hotel of your choice. Wait, which hotels do you like? Have you been to hotels? I said, yes. Choose a hotel of your choice. I'm going to pay. You stay as long as you want. May I only want one thing, my dear, by the way. One thing, and everything else will be yours. By then, he had already started opening the car. So, I just told him, sir, this time there was no chance of going to my cousin. I looked, I said, sir, I can't work like this. This will make me very uncomfortable. Like, you keep giving me things that I don't want. The thing, you want to be a hard girl, you want to be a hard girl. Do you know who I am? Do you understand who I am? I told you there are many girls who want what I'm giving you, but you keep saying no, because you see you want to be hard. I said, it's not about being hard. I don't like the direction this is taking. I've never worked with someone who does things like this. He said, so are you going to be like that? This is your first job, isn't it? I kept quiet. I told him, either way, I'm not comfortable. I'm not going. I don't need a hotel. I don't need anything. I just need a job. I need a professional job. That's it. And he told me, okay, you don't need anything. You don't know who I am. It's fine. You go and pick your things. Go and pick your things in the office. even me, I don't need you. Clearly things had not sunk in. I went back to office, continued with my work. Come before I reached on Monday, I got a call from the receptionist. Penny, when you arrive, please go to the Human Resources office. And I was given a letter. I was very confused. Like, okay, why have I been called here? Why? Unfortunately, we have found that the position we gave you, we may not be having a challenge with finances. We may not need certain roles in the company. So this is just a gentle, it was a polite way of getting me off the job.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was his way of telling me, you don't know who I am. Now you know who I am. And I looked at the letter and I kept quiet. And I left that office. And to be honest, like for 3 years, like 2 years, is a point my spirit for journalism just
Died.
died. It's like, when are you going to do this? Get on TV, what? I don't know. And when are you going to, oh no. So it's like, my friends will be like, but you're not the way you used to be. I'm like, no, I'm just taking a break. Like, who takes a break on career, Penny? Like, so me was a break, but everyone else, they just said I was giving up. Like, but I feel like, Penny, you've given up. I'm like, no, I've not given up. But then I think in the third year, I realized I'd actually given up because I was failing to, the love for the job failed to come back.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I said it's the same thing everywhere you go. If you're not complying, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you won't get in. And me, I want merit, but these bosses want certain things to be done, and I felt like I'm not going to conform.
Yeah.
My last situation was then after that. This was last year. I met someone on social media. I can't mention his name, but I keep telling everyone, he's really, 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 really big. He's a big guy. Like, big. Like, that guy can open doors for you nationally and internationally. He's not just Ugandan. Can take you far. Like, I think if you wanted BBC, he can take you to BBC. If you wanted Sky, if you wanted Al Jazeera, anywhere, East African newspaper, whatever it is, he has that power. So he got to me in my inbox. I've been seeing your page, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy, oh my God,
it's like a dream come true.
Oh my God, this guy is
Am I dreaming?
He's like, you're so professional. I really want to meet you. I see so much talent in you. Can we meet here and here and here? Good thing with me, I always tell people everything at home.
Yeah.
From my very first employment, I always tell them, so they know about it. I go and meet this gentleman. I was so disappointed. I reached there. He first told me, let's meet at a restaurant, whereby we reach at the restaurant, then he changes location. We reach at the restaurant and he gets in the car and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to this hotel. And I'm like, oh, I keep quiet. I'm texting my sister. I keep texting her just for security because I was on my own. And when we reached there, he starts saying, oh, you know what? I forgot something in the hotel room. Do you want to come and just wait as I was like, do I look? I think I just looked very, I don't know where he got, it works with other people, I don't know.
Yeah.
I told him I can sit here, it's okay. So I noticed when that didn't work, he changed approach. So tell me, what do you do? Oh, I work for UAP and this, but you're in the wrong job. You're too big for these kinds of things. How much do they pay you? I'm not comfortable discussing my salary, because I'm sure what I can get you into will pay you 10 times more than that. I have uplifted and exposed so many young talents like you, and they are far penny. Yeah. You don't have to be working for someone else's dream. And then I'm like, what do you like to do? Communication, this and this and this. I have already 3 projects right now that I know you would run. Oh my God. It was like,
I don't know where men get those lines from. Guys, like some lines are so like heaven sent, like to just blow your mind. You're like, oh my God, I think
3 ideas. I already have 3 projects. I just need you. Oh, people, I need you to quit your job. Do you think you can quit? I'm like, quit my job. He's like, quit your job. I'm ready to. Is money the problem? I have money. When it comes to money, you have no problem.
It's the ATM machine.
Yes, he made it clear. So I'm going to just give you time. Think about it. You have my contact. When you're ready, quit that job. Those 3 projects are there. Their financing is there. You're going to head them. That's the guy. I wanted to play along. I chose play along because you don't know what someone is capable of.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know if
who is he when he's angry. I don't know. Is he going to follow you home? I don't know this person away from who he is on
Social
TV,
media,
on social media. And I'm already shocked by what I'm seeing. So I just play along. In my head, I'm like, I am not coming back. And when I get back home, I tell my sister. It took me time to tell my parents. I didn't want to. I needed it first sort of cool down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what? So I first told my sister. She's like, that guy? But he's so professional. But are you serious? And then she's like, oh my God, Penny, you're so lucky. But then she asked me, how many other girls does he do that with? Because if I wasn't that restricted, I would also just... Everyone needs money. Everyone needs a job. You're also tired of being a journalist and you're not getting where you want to get to. And someone has that influence. So it's not easy to close that door.
Yeah.
And that was actually... It was that experience. I think that was like the last straw for me. That's when I just came out and I'm like, man, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about it. And that's when I found out there are many other people,
even
in other industries, who are going
through
the same thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Penny. I didn't want to interject because I wanted you to actually give all the accounts, because sometimes when somebody is speaking, people don't know from what background you're speaking from. But one of the things I want to inquire from you, many people, even in the examples you've given, there are so many women that have gone through that. At one point, either you rejected it, either you took it. And because now imagine somebody coming and telling you, resign your job, I can pay you thrice that. And there's a girl who will go and write a resignation letter.
Yeah.
And then the next morning you realize there was no contract for you. This person was just playing with your mind. And why is that happening? Because many people are naive. They're not informed about what actually happens in offices. And even the few that have had that experience that you've mentioned don't want to talk about it. Why do you think people don't want to talk about it? Because I see for you, you're very passionate about it. Why are you very passionate? Why are you very passionate about it, contrary to other women who actually want to keep it as a secret?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think I've never asked myself that question. I think for me, number one, I think it's God. Something I've noticed when I'm not saying there's any believer that is greater than another.
Yeah.
But the influence of God is, the levels to me are different in different people, depending on your situation and your relationship with Him.
Yeah.
But when He's strong in your life, when His influence is strong, what many people would perceive as normal is very abnormal to you.
Yeah.
And I've had those conversations, and you really look like you're mad, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And people ask you where the self-control comes from. I think even there, God gives you self-control.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I think I speak up is because of that, number one.
Yeah.
Number two is because of that passion for making things right.
Oh, yes.
I am not easily pushed over.
Yeah.
When I first had that conversation on my sexual harassment experiences, there were people at my workplace by then who would meet me, men, and they told me, now I cannot corner you. The
next day I'll be on social media.
For you, you're going to post us on social media. And the funny thing, most of them were married men. I'm like, hey, so you're actually, this one. No. I'm like, but I'm not like that. After you're exposing, I said, but I didn't even give everyone's name. I said, you even helped me, by the way.
Yeah.
You stay there. Now you're scared. So there was that. It looks, I think for many people, they wouldn't want to be. It's not that you're chasing people away, but you've Yeah,
put a boundary.
Permanent boundaries have been made.
You've set boundaries, and it is something I want us to talk about, because for me, if somebody at your office can be like, no, me, I can't come to you, I know you will, that's already a statement. And many people don't introduce who they are when they step into a new market space, a new workspace. They want to fit in. They want to fit in the culture. And sometimes the culture is very toxic. Sometimes the culture is very wrong. For lack of a better word, sometimes it's demonic.
That's true.
And people want to fit in because why? They want to maintain a job, they want to grow. So when I hear that somebody made a comment like that, I feel that's good. It's very good.
Yeah, I was happy. I wasn't even like 3.
Yeah.
So you just post things up. I read your story. I watched your interview. I was planning, but you know. Oh, why? And madam, like, but you're even married. So what was the plan? You get?
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe to some people it's like you're chasing. I don't know which God knows which market, but apparently you're chasing market away, and people don't want to be perceived that way.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of judgment. Like I said, you're setting boundaries you can't reverse. I think there are certain things you can. It's a really bold step.
Yeah.
Because even when I had the last interview, they asked me, now you know that because of your statement, certain offices are not going to employ you. How do you feel about it? And then it's the truth. Because if you have workspaces, yes, if you have media workspaces that actually do that, who wants you there?
Because they do background check, they have to see what you're doing, what you're saying.
So they're like, we've been doing this with the girls, and then now there's this one. This one is going to be a hard one. She's going to probably expose us. Because me, I said, if I'm not comfortable, I either walk out, or I speak up. I can't just be there.
Yeah, but isn't that good to find that a company can reject you? Because I think that's what being an ambassador of Christ is. I think we are not called to fit in.
No, not at all.
But many Christians, and I want you to speak to that girl who has struggled to fit in the culture, in the way women are perceived in offices. Yeah.
Wow. I think I say wow because I've also been at a point in my life where I was also trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Really trying to fit in because you want to be accepted. But I think when you come to understand how special you are, every individual is special.
Yeah.
When you come to understand how special you are, when you accept how special you are, when you appreciate, you will be so uncomfortable trying to be like everyone else. You want to be yourself. You even begin to sympathize with people who are trying to fit in. Though you don't blame them.
Yeah.
I still think it has an influence to do with God in your life.
Yeah.
I think by then I wasn't so grounded in God, but the closer I got to Him, the more I would recognize that there are just certain situations, even if I'm an outcast, I'm okay with it because it gives me peace.
Yeah.
You feel good. And what people don't notice is whenever you're trying to fit in, it's a lot of work. It's exhausting because it's no longer about you.
Yeah.
If you're trying to fit in, there's also you trying to impress certain people.
Yeah.
But now you're struggling with sometimes you try to impress people, it's not good enough. So you don't have peace.
Yeah.
But when you're like, this is me, I am proud to be myself. I love God. I love the way I look. I love the way I speak. I love what I do. I think you become a point of admiration.
Yeah.
And people would admire someone who is themselves because we're in a generation where everyone, not everyone, but
there's little authenticity.
Almost, it's literally dead. There are very few people. So I'm always preaching, I'm like, those who are authentic are the best people you can find. And you're trying to encourage people to get out of that social media influence that, I'm embarrassed to be associated with God. I'm embarrassed to be so prayerful. Why?
We don't put things of God out there, but we are quick to share other things.
It's
So
like there's a shame, there's a stigma. She prays too much. Oh, she speaks in tongues. Oh, she's a Bible, and you're either boring or you're. There's just.
I hear you.
You
I
get what
know
I'm
what you
saying?
mean. And I think that's what it means to be Christian. Because you're not supposed to fit in. And every time you try to fit in, you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I imagine, Penny, if you actually compromised, you wouldn't be seated here.
No.
You get what I mean?
No.
And there are so many people dealing with shame of that kind. Now, if a person has already messed up by mistake, they've already done a wrong move, maybe to get where they wanted to get, or they were promised things they didn't get, and they gave in actually. What would you tell such a person for them to actually come to a place of healing, forgiving themselves, and starting again?
First and foremost, I don't think it's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start again. I think all of us have our stories.
Yeah.
All of us have made mistakes.
Yeah.
The most important point is to get yourself back on your feet.
Yeah.
If God says he's forgiving and he doesn't limit the times he forgives you, that means there's no limit to making things right. You're not run out of your points. You're not counting, okay, I've done this and this and this. Now it's too much. I can't do it anymore. No, you can always pick yourself up. So I think it's important to first accept that it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And then now choose to write a different chapter for yourself.
Yeah.
Choose to make your mistake a learning process. For me, one thing I've forcefully taught myself in the last, I think, 4 years is every mistake I make must teach me something by force.
Yeah.
Force of favor, I must come out stronger.
Yeah.
So people would be perturbed that you see me in a situation that should break me, but you realize I get way stronger than before. And you're like, oh, but how does this person do it?
Yeah.
But it's intentional. I'll look back, I'll cry, I'll frown, but I'll be like, okay, what have I learned?
Out of this.
And how am I going to be?
Better.
One thing that can also help you, or that would really help you, is don't shy away. I think the trauma also comes from being embarrassed. Me, the more I speak about certain things, the less guarded I am. And I've come to a point of where it is, take me as you take me. But if my situation has taught me something,
Yeah.
and it can teach someone else something,
Then it's okay to share.
what is the point of you going through something and you can't help someone else avoid the same thing?
Yeah.
Because we can all go through the same thing, and some of us won't be lucky. Others will come out doomed. Others will come out better people. So I'll give you a simple example. It's a bit off course, but I'll just give you an example.
Yeah.
So when I went to, I don't know if you've heard that story, but when I went to university, I dropped out of campus for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I started afresh. So even when that season was on, I was so embarrassed. I met the same lecturers. I went to the same university. So my lecturers would say, oh, I don't want someone coming late to my class. Penny knows why. I was like, Penny, how does the lecturer keep referring to him? I'm like, I don't know. Penny knows how I like my coursework. But Penny, they keep referencing to you. So I actually would follow the lecturer and I said, please stop referring to me because I don't want people to know me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she said, but why are you even embarrassed? You should be so proud of yourself. Madam, leave me.
Yeah.
But by the time I was done with the 3 years, I was like, I saw in my second round of school, I saw students making the same mistakes I made. Exactly, like you witness a student who reminds you of yourself. She's not in class the way you were. She's into the wrong things. It's just the same character, and you're thinking to yourself, I wish I could just save her. I'm shy because it's my story. I'm embarrassed. But then I'm like, she may not be lucky like me. She may not come back.
Yeah.
Others drop out. Probably they get pregnant or they die, or she's not fortunate as you, and you have the power to stop her, and then you're embarrassed. So what was the
I think
point?
it's not realizing the reason, the why you're going through something, because sometimes we don't know God's purpose to why we're going through what we're going through. So if you don't know the purpose, then you don't know how to actually appropriate it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm, like, for example, you sitting here to share your story, there are many other girls who are going to be liberated.
Yeah.
And they would never relate because they've never had somebody talk about it. They think they're the only ones who are
Yes.
being abused
Yes.
or something.
And I think also when for those who have already gone through the experience, it's important to have people that you can confide in. Like find someone in your life. And I know there are some people who say they actually have no one.
Yeah.
But you need someone that you can pour all these things out to.
Yeah.
When you try to deal with it on your own, your mind can also play you. The enemy will tell you what he wants you to hear. You are done. You are useless. You are this and that. And there's no one to actually talk to you and set you free and tell you it's actually not the way your mind is telling you. You get consumed. That's why you can share and you feel so relieved.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been fortunate that I have a very strong support. I have my sister. I have my parents. And I've also been raised in a way that I am so vocal.
Yeah.
I can swear to God, I'm such a... I speak. I know sometimes it might get me in trouble. Sometimes I'm like, Penny, but I think you should... But I speak.
Yeah.
I was raised and told, if you feel a certain way, you need to speak up. I understand there are some people who are not
raised
like that. I understand there are people who are not privileged to have that kind of support. To come home and say, Mommy, Daddy, my boss tried to do this. Brother, sister, they're just there on their own. So... it's important to get that support. Yeah. I think without that support, I would also be struggling. You would have
made a mistake.
I would have made a mistake.
Because I see how you were accountable in all your experiences to your sister. And I think this is something young people neglect. Like you feel this man, you're the only one with this man. Nobody else should know. Yeah. Before you know it, you've messed up. Yeah. Now you don't want to talk to people. But if you have somebody, a close friend who you keep asking, getting a second opinion, I think it's an amazing thing. And I think everybody should get that friend that you can account to, that you can tell that this is happening. What do you think? Yeah. And it's a good culture. Yeah. I have people in my life that sometimes you consult with before you make a decision. Yeah. Someone will be like, Renette, yeah, that's okay. I think that's good. Somebody will be like, Renette, please, don't calm down. Relax. Yeah. And they just bring that kind of sober mind to you. But many people don't want it. Many people think, this is my dream. This is my small thing. I want to surprise the world when I show up with a Range Rover. Anyway, so going back, and as we bring this to a close, I want us to help somebody who doesn't know how some of those vices creep in. You know, there are tendencies that people use. Okay, your example, maybe somebody was very direct. You could see that this is not okay. But there are people who also play it very craftily. Yes. That before you know it, you're actually trapped. Yeah. Now, what are some of those indicators that you've noticed that men use to lure girls, especially in a workspace, that any young girl who is planning to join a market space should take note of? Yeah.
I think first and foremost, it's when someone shows you I want to support you, I believe in you. Your walls just come down. As long as you feel like you have someone on your side, this person really gets me. This person is, I want you to handle this project because I think you're really good at this. When I look at you, I think you can become this kind of person. If you're being bullied in the workplace, this is a person who is going to defend you. So they want to be on your good side. And they want to show you that they want to build you. So there are people who genuinely want to build you. Yeah. But there are also people you need to open your sixth sense. You need to be guarded. You need to realize, okay, this person is really nice to me. I hope it's coming from a genuine space and not from, they have other interior motives. So for me, that's the first thing. When I'm in a workplace and I notice there's just too much kindness, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But I try to recognize, are they doing it to everyone else? Why is it only me? Because once that wall is down, anything else that is directed at you seems to be coming from the same place of, I'm your friend. I want to help you. I want to. And then there's the aspect of, trying to mix that professional and social life.
Yeah.
My boss doesn't need to be asking me to go for drinks. My boss doesn't need to be asking me, how is mom and dad? What are you doing on the weekend? Let's keep our conversations professional. Because when we start going social, as much as I share, he's also getting to understand the kind of person you are. Oh, no, me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm at home. This one is always at home. Okay. Do you drink? And then you'll say, no, I don't drink. Oh, I drink, but I get drunk so fast. It's like, okay. They also, I don't want to judge anyone, but those are and it's always those, I think those bosses are usually the really friendly, the crafty ones are usually so friendly, so approachable. Maybe he's that boss that everyone in the office likes. He's for the guys. He's the friend. He's the one who is buying a cake for the person in the department on their birthday. He's just that guy that everyone thinks is so nice.
Yeah.
And yet you might find the mean guy is actually the more trustworthy boss than the...
Yeah.
So you try to avoid those kinds of conversations that are not professional, and also isolated situations.
Yeah.
That's something I also learned with, being in a workplace and you're staying too late and the boss is the only one there, and you don't trust people, or you don't get comfortable with every time I need to talk to you alone in my office. What do you want to talk to me about so frequently that no one else should be listening to? Yeah. So those are red flags. Yeah. If someone is constantly calling you, if his conversations are into your personal life, if he's just so keenly interested in you, I think those are red flags. Yeah. But what you can also do before you join an office, I think it's good to do background checks. There are things you can find out about someone before you even... The company, the staff, how is their conduct, because there are some spaces that you actually join and you really feel like your spirit is not at peace. Yeah. People are going in a certain... I've been in offices and I'm like, I have a feeling most of the people here are not believers, because there's just an energy. There's just an energy. There's a wrong energy. You're not going to say, let me have a prayer, and people are looking at you like, what's wrong with this one? Because they're not about that. They're more about the Friday, let's go and drink, let's go and have fun. So in that kind of situation, when you have the background, you have to do some sort of analysis and be sure. But most importantly, I would advise that you don't compromise. The first compromise becomes the second compromise, becomes the third compromise. Like, don't let your guard down. Yeah. Don't take your stand. Don't be shaken. If this is who you are, this is who you are. People are going to take you, and at some point people will accept you the way you are. Of course, there will be people who will see you and say, I can give you an example, and I'm not boasting, but there are people I've met who, in workspaces, who just, they don't like me because you're in a workplace, you're working well with everyone, and then there's just, someone just doesn't like you, and you're like, but why? But it's because they are not happy to see that you do your things differently.
Oh, yes. Like you're straight.
Yes. They're going to say, Renette, let's go to the bar Friday. And you're just constantly saying, it's okay, I'm going to go home. And they're like, this one, Renette wants to look like she's the one who is...
Okay.
She wants to show she's... So they will now probably even start strategizing on ways to make sure they expose your flaws. But you stand your ground. You pray. Pray. Yeah. Pray when you're in a workplace before you join, when you're at the workplace. Every morning, pray, because you don't know the intentions around you. Yeah. You don't know the boss's intentions. If someone is not good for you, God will probably take them away from you on his own, but you pray for that protection on a daily basis. But I think it's majorly just be yourself, stand your ground, trust God. Yeah. Fight your battles with God. I also sometimes would tell people, oh, this is happening, oh, Penny, and they'll try to make you panic. Oh my God, Penny, they said they're going to downsize people. And I'm like, yeah, God brought me here and God will get me out. And if it's my time to go, then I know that's what God wants me. And someone's looking at you like, but there's a list going on. I'm like, it's okay. If I'm on the list, it's fine. If I'm not on the list, it's fine.
Okay, yeah.
But God brought me here. I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to
Him.
And someone is looking at you like, but this
Someone
girl.
can even hate you for that.
That's what, and that's but that's just you standing your ground. And I know it's really hard because the society we're in right now, I've had that conversation with you before.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's very toxic.
But for me, it's important to hear stories like yours. Because you see, Penny, if I hear that God has done it through somebody, that's the number one indicator that this thing is possible. That you can actually work in an office and live without compromising.
Yeah.
And if you choose to take that route, you should be able for the consequences.
Yeah.
There might be opposition, there might be hate, there might be, but knowing that God is the one who put you there and is not going to promote you should suffice. And for me, that's what stands out in this conversation.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank you for even sharing it. I have wanted to do a story on this conversation, and I've had many people, but there are few who are willing to open up. Why? Because there is still a self-preservation, like, what will people think about me? And I think it's important to be totally healed and delivered from people. Then that's when we can have impact. Because if we're still closed in and we don't want to share experiences, then it will be extremely hard for us to have impact. So I want to thank you for this conversation. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that we haven't talked about? Or maybe your final remarks?
I think my final remarks would be, I think we need to learn. Life is constantly personal discovery.
Yeah.
The most you hear people saying, the most successful people have mastered themselves.
Yes.
Life is about figuring out who you are, understanding that God sets your value.
Yeah.
Not people, not society. It doesn't
God
matter what.
sets your
God
value.
sets your value. What does God say about you? So if God is happy with you, if God is saying you're beautiful, you're special, then who cares what anyone else says?
Yeah.
It shouldn't bother you. So I think many of us should strive to get to a place where we're so happy with ourselves.
Yes.
And that is accompanied by purpose.
Yes.
If your life has no purpose, and I'm not talking about purpose of where I want to buy a car, and purpose is what is God's reason for placing you here?
Yeah.
What are you walking towards? Because when you get to that point, like myself, you will find what gives you satisfaction. And I think that is, again, the Spirit of God. It's not the money.
Yeah.
You know, if I put my story out there and everyone is going to say this and that, my satisfaction is someone has been healed. I don't care what anyone says about me. It's okay. This is a strong statement, but God forbid, if I die tomorrow, I'm happy. I'm like, even if I don't have $10,000 or a car or a mansion, I'm not the most, biggest journalist in the world, but then I know they're like 5 people come up to me and they're like, Penny, thank you so much for your story. I was going to do this. I was in the office and you saved my life. That is, there is a certain
fulfillment
that comes in. Yeah. That is what you live for. Not, there are certain things that
are perishable.
they don't reach. They don't.
But impact doesn't pass.
Exactly. It's that impact. It's that purpose. And I'm just going to close with a very small personal experience. Before I got saved, I had my goals, financial goals. So there was this voice that started coming for me all the time. The Spirit of God kept coming, asking me every time. It was like for a whole consecutive week. It would ask me, okay, Penny, so what do you want in life? I want a car. I want 5 cars. I want a mansion. I want to travel the world. I want to be the richest journalist. I want to have a family and kids. And there's a point it would run out. And I'm like, I think that's it. So count. And then the voice responds and it says, all those things are good, but they are perishable. Don't you want something that you know is going to be there forever? When you die tomorrow, you're going to leave all those things around. But there's something I want to introduce to you that is permanent. It's yours, even when you're not here. Eternal life is yours. I asked, I was like, what is it? And he's like, eternal life. So by then I went to my pastor. I said, Pastor, there's this voice that keeps disturbing me. It keeps asking me, what do you want? What do you want? Then it says eternal life. And then he's like, that is just the conviction. God is trying to convict you. He's saying, give your life to Christ. It's that simple. And then I thought about it and I was like, wow. And that's when I just changed.
Amazing.
I changed completely.
I think the Lord makes everything beautiful in its time.
Amen.
For me, when I hear a story, I see what you share on social media and I'm like, this girl is not ready for what the Lord is about to do for her. I just pray you keep with the standard. Because the thing is that right now you might not have so many platforms to even share your message or share your convictions about not compromising. But I know God will open more doors for you.
Amen.
And God is not like man. You know that he sees on the outside, but he looks at our hearts. And when the hearts are ready to serve him, to honor him, he doesn't want us to get ashamed. He will open those doors that you've wanted to work in. And that's my prayer for you. Pray you be encouraged. And I know your story is you're still like young. I think you're the youngest person I've hosted. But for me it was also to help young people, young girls who are still struggling with such lifestyles. So thank you very much for sharing. I hope this conversation was very helpful. If you're a parent, if you're any person with a teenager, with a girl who is at uni, and they're somebody looking for a job, somebody who is still so little in their career, this is a conversation that is just right for them. So thank you very much for tuning in today. I pray that you are blessed. I also request that you leave your comment in the comment section. Let us know that one thing you've gone through. Thank you very much, Penny. It's important for such stories to be here. So thank you very much. I was also honored to have you.
Thank you. I'm also very happy.
You made it.
That sharing, I'm just happy for the platform. I always tell the people around me, like, what's your one thing you want God to do for you? I'm like, I want influence. I envy, and I think I've told you before, I envy people who have so much influence, because I'm like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, if I had that influence, I don't know how many things I would have done. Like, I want to go around schools and telling, I'm not ashamed, but I just believe someone needs to hear. And there is power in the testimony. You can be saved at the last minute just by knowing that someone else overcame this. And that's the gift of us here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. So thank you guys. Till next time. Bye-bye.